Huge news was announced by Elon Musk over the weekend. The market is down this much largely because of the tariffs, but Elon Musk said he hopes for a zero-tariff system between the US and Europe that would effectively create a free trade zone, he told attendees of a league event in Italy. If that's implemented, a lot of the tariffs would go away. And so because the markets are down because of the tariffs, if you remove the tariffs, then the market should go back up. And if you like the idea of Tesla stock going back up, click that like button right now. I also hope that there's more freedom for people to move between Europe and North America and work where they want to work. And right now it's very difficult to move between the two. Elon finishes here. That's been my advice to the president. He hopes the US and Europe establishes a very close partnership. When Elon Musk says something like this publicly, this strongly, I think he actually really means it, and he definitely talked to the president. And I think if the president received it very badly, I don't think Elon would be talking about this. Or if he was, he would be sort of beating around the bush about the subject, not really being this direct. That's my personal opinion. And I watched this entire interview between Brett Bayer and Elon Musk, and Elon Musk said something that really caught my attention at the end of the interview.
What's something that people want to know about the president? You're pretty close to him now. You spend a lot of time with him.
I've yet to see him do anything mean.
Being mean is such a low bar. For example, I fired some people, and it was the right thing to do for that person, even because that person then can go and find a better job where that person can actually create value for the society instead of being a nuisance for everyone else because the person just can't do the job right or beneficially for the company anymore. Firing someone is inherently mean. And I think it's a lot more mean even than it's the right thing to do for a country to bomb or threaten to bomb another country, even if it's the right thing to do. And I'm not saying this particular thing is the right thing to do or not. I haven't looked into this. But yeah, I would call missile attacks definitely mean, even when it's the right thing to do. Personally, I think a lot of politics is just theater. And hearing that statement from Elon Musk there, him not being able to think of a single thing that the president has done that's mean, I think to me that signals simply that this was Elon signaling that he's very loyal to the president. That's what I'm hearing with that statement, that he will not go against anything that the president really wants to do. So now suddenly hearing Elon Musk saying that he wants no tariffs at all between the US and Europe is also signaling to me that the president is very open to that idea. And if that's the case and the tariffs are removed, then the stocks should rally because they went down because of the tariffs. That's what I'm thinking, but of course the situation evolves and changes almost every single day. But I certainly see it as likely that we will have some relief. At least between the US and Europe. China, there's more news about that. I'll cover that later in the video. Just like I will mention the 2-day event during which I will teach my younger brothers everything I know about money, to which everyone else is welcome to come as well. There's a link down below. Tesla has removed the $16,000 Cybertruck range extender from their online order configurator. The range extender was aiming to increase range to 445 miles, with production planned to begin in mid-2025, but that's not happening anymore. The hope is that this means they have an updated main pack design that adds more energy capacity without losing bed space, but we're gonna find out. I personally would think if that was the case, Tesla would just say it right now. Why be silent if that's the case? But then are these people getting a refund on their deposits? If you ordered it and you got a refund, leave a comment down below. I'm not able to find any people that are getting refunds. So this could also mean maybe if you placed the order, you are still going to get it. But if you remember this post from Wes, who is in charge of designing the Cybertruck, basically, he replied to this post from Omar. Omar said that the pack is half empty, but Wes said, I'd say it's half full, implying that it could be fuller. Now, Bradford says that Tesla appears to be 4680 battery constrained. Tesla went with the approach with the widest rolls, fastest speed, and hardest process. Maybe they had to go this big to bring costs down, but it appears to be a failure. Well, Elon said on the last earnings call that Tesla is able to produce batteries cheaper than anyone else. Basically, their batteries are the cheapest for them. So I certainly would not call that a failure. Tesla just needs to scale out production, and it's happening. Not super quickly, but it's happening. happening and eventually it's going to get there. But he continues here. My guess, Baglino pushed to move to a proven process. More uptime matters. Getting your supply of batteries matters. Downtime has its costs. Elon has this vision of a battery bottling printing press operation. Not only did Tesla remove the range extender, which is more than 1/3 of the battery pack, but Cybertruck sales are very low. I think it is a battery supply issue, as Elon said in January. Yes, Cybertruck price does need to come down, and it will come down as Tesla releases cheaper models of the Cybertruck. But if you don't have enough batteries, what is the point? Now he continues, I could be wrong. Maybe Tesla is slowing down the battery production to fix whatever is still wrong with it. But perhaps maybe Tesla needs to try an approach that is less aggressive, more machines, slower per machine, more land usage, but who cares? But you get your uptime, you get your supply of batteries. If Tesla can somehow sell 4680 in massive volume, and they will, and super fast, I don't think anyone else can match them, but the costs and goals seem like too much. I think Bradford is saying that Tesla is slowing down the battery production just based on this post, but then we also know that there are tariffs, and with tariffs, everyone else is going to have less batteries because there are some manufacturers that sell in the US and they buy batteries from China. Now these companies would have to buy locally, and there are only so many local batteries. And Tesla does not exactly publish very openly exactly where they purchase their batteries from or how much of the batteries that they use are only their batteries. They don't say exactly, oh, well, we actually, we purchase a few batteries from here. We know that for Megapacks, for example, Tesla certainly used to get batteries from China, and now there are going to be no batteries from China. Or if they are still going to use them, if the tariffs remain, they are going to be more expensive. So how do we know for sure that Tesla is actually producing less 4680s right now? Maybe it's just that Tesla is being careful with the tariffs and they are trying to stockpile the few batteries that they actually have. And I think there are very few people that are buying a Cybertruck, and when they look at the Cybertruck, they say, you know what? If I can never get the range extender, I don't want the Cybertruck. I think most of the people that want a Cybertruck, they will get the Cybertruck even if it's without the range extender, so it doesn't really hurt sales. At least right now at the volume that Tesla is selling the Cybertruck at. Okay, and this came out. Been waiting to acknowledge this great achievement by Tesla's 4680 cell manufacturing team since the end of last year. But as Elon announced last night, our cell manufacturing team in Texas reached a huge milestone at the end of 2024 with becoming the lowest cost per kilowatt hour battery cell producer for Tesla. The grit, determination, and passion of our team is unbelievable in helping deliver our mission. And this was just published by Sawyer as well during the weekend, although this post was actually made 2 weeks ago. I think it's on LinkedIn. And he continues to post here, and we aren't done yet. 2025 will have more big milestones with fully ramped dry battery electrode manufacturing to deliver even more cost efficiency. Exciting teams continue to be ahead. And this guy is Tesla's director of cell manufacturing. And here Bradford is changing his tune. If Tesla truly finally cracked the code on the 4680 battery, then this is huge. With how hard it has been for Tesla to master at high throughput and massive scale, I doubt any other competitor could copy them for at least 4 years. It was nearly impossible, and yet here we are. And so this post by Bradford was posted yesterday, and the original one Saturday. All it takes is just one day. And as I pointed out, this post on LinkedIn was made 2 weeks ago. So, and this is what I see with Tesla bears largely and Tesla skeptics or people that sort of are thinking about Tesla. They are making their conclusions based on outdated old information, and the new information, which is already out there, they haven't seen yet, but it's already out there. And sometimes that happens even with Tesla bulls. Bradford is a Tesla bull, and he was making statements about 4680s. And here we go. After seeing a post that's 2 weeks old, the opinion changes, the sentiment changes. Oh, Tesla has started canceling launch series Model Y orders in North America as that trim is no longer in production. Order holders are being encouraged to switch to the new non-launch series released yesterday. Only way to get a launch series now is via any existing inventory. To me, this is a bit strange because that launch series is more expensive, so wouldn't Tesla make more money? But I guess they had to retool maybe their manufacturing lines a tiny little bit, and the moment you do that, you can't make the old one, so now you can only make the slightly cheaper versions. So I guess that makes sense. And they are probably serious about the RAM so that we can come back with a stronger delivery number this quarter. Okay, there's some huge fight going on X between Fred Lambert Sawyer and multiple other Tesla stock investors. First of all, according to Fred, it looks like the Tesla Semi price has roughly doubled since its original unveiling. But if you are only making basically, let's call them prototypes, you can charge whatever you really want for them. So I don't really care about the price. I will care about the price once we start scaling. But the delays, that's more interesting. And someone from Tesla responded to this already, saying that there is not going to be a delay. But I'm curious, why is he saying this? If there's someone who is going to find something that Tesla is supposedly not going to do, it's going to be Fred from Electric. So Electric writes that Ryder, a large transportation company and early customer partner in Tesla's semi-truck program, is talking about further delays. The company also refers to a significant price increase. California's Mobile Source Air Pollution Reduction Review Committee awarded Ryder funding for a project to deploy Tesla semi-trucks and megachargers at 2 of its facilities in the state. Ryder had previously asked for extensions amid the delays in the Tesla Semi program. And in a new letter sent to MSRC last week and obtained by Electric, Ryder asked the agency for another 28-month delay. The letter references delays in Tesla product design, vehicle production, and it mentions dramatic changes to the Tesla product economics. The logistics company now says it plans to deploy 18 Tesla Semi vehicles by June 2026. Okay, well, I don't think Electric just made up this letter. I think it's probably a real letter, so I'm not questioning this part. But I do have some good ideas why the Tesla team is saying that there is going to be no delay. But let's keep going. The reference to dramatic changes to the Tesla product economics points to a significant price increase for the Tesla Semi, which further communication with MSRC confirms. So now it's starting to make sense. In the agenda of a meeting to discuss the extension and changes to the project yesterday, MSRC confirms that the project went from 42 to 18 Tesla Semi trucks, while the project commitment is not changing. Oh, and I think this one, we need to pay attention to this one. The project changes also mention that Ryder states that Tesla now requires 600 kilowatt chargers rather than the 750 kilowatt units originally engineered. And this is where the update from the Tesla team comes. Dan Priestley, manager of the Tesla Semi program, commented, "No change to schedule," and multiple incorrect conclusions. But when asked, he didn't explain what was incorrect or why Ryder was complaining about delays and price increases. We have seen things like this being said by Elon too, where there's a whole article with many different things about Tesla, and Elon just comments false, and then we're left trying to figure out exactly what's false and what's not. So when it comes to price, first of all, Tesla announced the different prices in 2017, and Tesla never updated the prices. And Ryder now points to a dramatic price increase for the Tesla Semi. And I would also point to dramatic inflation since 2017 to today, which makes sense. And this is where Fred's opinion comes in. So he doesn't have hardcore facts to back up why the price would double, but he basically points to the amount of funding. And if previously you wanted to have 42 trucks, that would cost about $180,000 per truck. And now if you're getting 18 trucks, the cost would be about $415,000. But my guess is some of that money could be spent somewhere else. So I don't think we can use that figure to figure out a definitive price of the Tesla Semi. Also, the first few orders, I would imagine, would cost more money because it's all about supply and demand. There is almost no supply, basically zero right now. So of course you can charge a much higher price, which is why I would say the price in this case does not matter at all. The price will only matter when the semi-truck is scaled. If the price is going to be too high, then that's going to be a problem, but not when we are trying to ramp up production. And now I will offer counter arguments to what Fred presented here from Electric. So put yourself in the position of this logistics company, Ryder. The government is trying to give you $7.5 million. Do you want to have even a tiny risk of not getting this money? I don't know about you, but if someone offered me $7.5 million for basically doing nothing, not changing anything that I really need to change, just for doing what I'm already doing, and they try to give me this money and they try to give me a product that's better than what I'm using right now, will I take that money? Of course I will take that money. And will I try to do everything possible to make sure that I end up getting this money? Of course. And given Tesla's track record of how many times the Tesla Semi truck has been delayed, do you think that this company, Ryder, would think that there's maybe a 1%, 5%, 10%, 20% chance, or even a 30% chance that the Tesla semi-truck could be delayed again, even if Tesla right now is saying that it is not going to be delayed. And there was just a statement from Tesla directly because Electric published this article saying that no, actually there are going to be no delays, which actually, interestingly, probably reduces the chances of this company Ryder getting an extension, because now the government officials, whoever is looking at giving money to this company, are going to say, well, what? There's no delay, so why do you want an extension? Figure it out. But maybe they are going to be nice and they are going to give this company an extension. Oh yeah, and my understanding is that some of that $7.5 million will be used on building chargers. And so while seeing this, I don't see this as great news because it does suggest a possible delay. This letter from Ryder is not directly saying, oh, well, Tesla is now telling us that the truck is going to be delayed by this much. What I'm seeing here is that they think that there is a chance that Tesla may delay again, which would be like asking Fred Lambert, do you think Tesla stock is going to go up or down? Well, I'm pretty sure he's going to say it's going to go down in the long term at this point because he turned into a bear. But I like to be informed. I like to see negative news about what I own. And if there's some substantial evidence in them, I welcome it. This way, I stay informed, I stay sharp, and if something does happen, I don't get caught off guard. We can go back to December of 2022, which is when the rumors first started circulating about Tesla's plans to shut down temporarily Giga Shanghai. And there was a wide backlash from Tesla bulls completely saying, oh, that's BS. I wasn't so sure. So when the news actually later came out that the factory is shutting down temporarily, I was not surprised at all. I'm not a fanatic. I don't hold strong positions based on just a feeling or an opinion or just a wish to be right. I look at all of the facts that are available to me, at all of the evidence that's available to me, and then based on all of that, I think, and then I think some more, and then I think some more, and then I think even harder, and then I question, am I really right? Or where could I be wrong? If I was wrong, where would I be wrong? And then after thinking about that, and after trying to argue the opposite side of what I believe, once I can do that, sort of quite as well as I can argue the side that I believe in, only after that, I hold a strong opinion, which actually leads me to holding very, 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 very few very strong opinions, and everything else is largely, it's probably like this, but I'm not extremely strong on that because I don't know all of the stories and all of the evidence from toe to head, and there's often plenty shades of gray. And my primarily interest is on figuring out the most likely possibility of what's actually going to happen, meaning what is the truth, because the truth leads us to the most likely probability of something happening. I'm not a fanatic, so if I see something that contradicts what I believe, I am actually very interested in learning what is that all about, because maybe I am wrong. But often what happens, for example, like in this case, it only solidifies my opinion further because I see something that stated here as a fact. Tesla Semi suffers more delays and dramatic price increase, which is not really a confirmed delay. It's a company trying to get more funding. It's a company making sure that it gets its funding even if there is a delay, which is very different from an actual confirmed delay. To me, knowing all of the negatives, it just makes me feel more relaxed. For example, if I see someone that's overly perfect, and I'm definitely not perfect. I certainly have shortcomings, and I can certainly make mistakes. When I make them, I admit that I made a mistake. But when I see some negatives in something, I'm finally like, oh, okay, so that's where the risk is. Okay, then there's only upside about something. I get a little bit uncomfortable because there's always a catch. No one is ever perfect. So I just take the best from something or someone has to offer. Okay, and now Dan Ives has lowered his Tesla stock price target down from 550 to 315. Now this is from April 3rd, 2024, so a year ago. Dan Ives back then had a price target of $300 for the next 12 months. And look, on April 2nd, we were pretty close to that. On March 25th, we were almost there. And obviously, in the last 12 months, we have blown way past that. But almost a year later, we are pretty close to his price target. Dennis Wedbush estimates that Tesla has lost up to 20% of all future demand in some areas, and he's blaming that on the recent backlash against Elon Musk. He still remains a big bull, and I'll tell you this, if Tesla stock runs to $315 very quickly, then Ives is going to increase his Tesla stock price target just as quickly, because it's usually based on sentiment, and if Tesla stock goes up a lot, the sentiment improves, and therefore his price target would improve. If Tesla stock drops, the sentiment drops, and therefore then Ives also drops his Tesla stock price target, because it's largely based on sentiment. And he says this openly, by the way, so this is not a secret. Sentiment is not the only thing that is included in his price target, but it's a large portion of it. He calls the current situation a full-blown brand crisis that was caused by Musk, and that combined with the administration, global tariffs, the two have created the perfect storm for Tesla. Tesla has essentially become a political symbol globally, he says, and that is a very bad thing for the future of this disruptive tech stalwart and the brand crisis tornado that has now turned into an F5 tornado. We now estimate that Tesla has lost or destroyed at least 10% of its future customer base globally, based on self-created brand issues, and this could be a conservative estimate. In Europe, this number could be 20% or higher, all self-inflicted by Musk. Now, I'm not seeing him talk about potentially gaining more customers, because his supporters or the other side would suddenly now start buying EVs, which before they never did. He acknowledged that Tesla would be less exposed to tariffs than some that source a higher portion of vehicle components abroad. And then he talks about China. The analyst notes that Tesla's continued performance in China will remain the bigger worry, as tariff backlashes could also drive consumers even further toward domestic options such as BYD, NIO, or Xpeng. Our long-standing bull view of Tesla remains, but there is no denying this is a pivotal moment of truth for Musk to turn things around, or darker days are ahead, the analyst adds. We have been one of the biggest supporters of Musk and Tesla over the last decade, but the situation is not sustainable, and the brand of Tesla is suffering by the day as a political symbol. Musk has been with his back against the wall many times, and every time Tesla came out of it and it was stronger on the other side. This may be one of his biggest challenges yet to turn around. And look, very recently, Dan Ives not only had a price target of $550, but his bull case had a price target of $650, and he actually talked about bigger numbers than that as well. And for his reasoning, he noted that the company's full self-driving FSD rollout would likely be fast-tracked by the current administration. So in a way, you could say that what is making him bearish right now, or less bullish compared to before, was the thing that made him very bullish before. It's basically the same thing. It's the administration and what the administration is doing. It's just that he didn't anticipate, I guess, that there would be so many protests. And we got some news here. This is directly from Ashok, who's the guy in charge of developing Tesla's FSD. FSD's end-to-end model continues to scale well to other regions, first China and now Europe. He's quoting the post here saying FSD supervised in Europe pending regulatory approval. This is an official post from Tesla, so things are moving forward over there too. And of course, there's no other company which is doing this. Can you show me a single other company that is able to drive you anywhere in the US, China, and now soon Europe? A vehicle that you can actually buy as a consumer? I'll wait till someone names such a company. Finally, Grok is coming to Teslas this month. This is Grok saying this. And it has been rolled out to some vehicles, so we should expect Grok to be deployed to all vehicles in the spring update. Now, what exactly does pending regulatory approval mean? What's a timeline? I'm not seeing anyone talk about any timelines, but from what I heard about before and from what I've seen before, I was expecting the launch would be closer to the end of this year. But if Tesla or Elon Musk is pulling some strings, maybe we could see it much sooner. But knowing how Europe works, this may take a little while. But supposedly there are some important meetings, so if Elon Musk is doing something behind the scenes, this would be great. And Europe should really be very serious about getting this as soon as possible to Europe, because, I mean, did you see this person walking on this 3-lane road? Well, technically it's more than 3, but I mean, one way, we have 3 lanes. The guy just walking in the middle of the road wearing a black coat and blue jeans. And the driver admits, my car just saved this guy's life. I never saw him in the dark. It was a 2024 Model 3, so AI 4. Usually I think billboards are very effective for advertising for some people, sure, but usually but there's definitely one good use case for billboards. Imagine being stuck in rush hour traffic and your car is barely moving. And you see this. You can take your hands off the wheel. Wouldn't that be amazing? Get your Tesla today. I think this is a pretty good idea for advertisements. Just put them in very congested areas especially during rush hour, where during rush hour you have traffic that just stops. Okay, well, this is something that I did not think would happen. But the president of the U.S. Oil and Gas Association, hear this out, pay attention, has just ordered a what? A Tesla. I am not kidding. This actually happened. If I was reading a novel and this happened, I would think it's a bad novel. This would never happen. What? Except it's happening right now. Well, great for this guy. I fully support him. Well, there's finally some justice happening here. A former federal government employee and his wife, an executive at a clean energy nonprofit, have been charged with defacing 8 Tesla vehicles in and around the Capitol Hill neighborhood, according to DC police. I'm not going to play the video. I'll just explain what's happening in this video, because I think if I play the video, YouTube may just block the video, or it may age restrict it. What if there was a guy that was so sympathetic with protesters protesting against Elon Musk that he drove through a few hundred of these protesters, expanding these fumes, showing his support with the protesters, because these protesters, obviously, they hate EVs now. So what's a better form to show that you also hate EVs? Expel these fumes to show your support. Now, I don't think that's what's happening, but that's how I think the media often takes stories, and they take things that actually happened, but then they explain them in such a way that changes the narrative completely. Obviously, this guy does not support these protesters, and he's just annoying the protesters. Oh, by the way, speaking of regulatory approvals, Elon did say before, this is from late last year, that hopefully right-hand markets in late Q1 or early Q2 pending regulatory approval. So does it happen in Q1? So maybe we might see FSD in the UK as well. Japan is a tiny market for Tesla, so that wouldn't really make much of a difference. And New Zealand is also a pretty small country, but the UK would move the needle a tiny little bit, yes. Oh, and seems like Tesla has now introduced the new Model Y, including the rear-wheel drive version, in Chile and Mexico, but not the US. Omar saying it's available in Mexico. Whoa, this is a line to see the new Model Y. This is a shopping mall in South Korea. Here's also something interesting. Buy Tesla, still high. I've seen some people suggesting that initially this was so high because the president purchased a Tesla and people were just Googling the president buying a Tesla, because when you include a keyword like buy Tesla, this also includes keywords like president buy Tesla, which doesn't actually indicate people wanting to buy a Tesla, but it's been a while since that happened, and yet the interest, it did reduce a little bit, it got reduced by a little bit, but it's still much higher than at any point here. And this chart shows interest of the last 12 months. And look, sell Tesla, this has certainly gone up, but it's not higher than the interest to buy a Tesla. So this is very interesting. And as the Tesla Model Y ramps, we will see exactly what's going on. Oh, wow. Well, this is quite interesting. I was not quite expecting this, because Canada is so much more liberal, but I see Teslas around me here in Vancouver everywhere, and I haven't seen anyone scream at anyone or do anything to any Tesla, and they're just everywhere here. But certainly I would think that this chart would look worse in Canada than in the US, and basically these are the exact same charts. Here's the UK, same thing basically. Oh, and you would think that in California, this chart would be not that good. But what we are seeing here would suggest otherwise. And New York, here's another liberal state. I guess there's just not enough data here, so I wouldn't really count on this. Washington State, not to be confused with Washington, D.C., my European friends. These two places are very different. Oh, and this is quite interesting. So there's the senator who sold his Tesla. Okay, fine. And I would think he's pro-environment, right? So he bought another EV? No, he bought a gasoline vehicle. I mean, he could have bought a Rivian. Rivian is not really a bad car. It's a bit expensive, but it's not really a bad car. I know Ryan Char used to have a Rivian and then he sold it. Largely, from what I understood, is because charging was not really easy if he had to go on a road trip. And another way to look at this news is, even if you are pro EVs and you want to support EVs, you're not buying an EV that's not a Tesla because I guess it just wasn't that good for that senator, meaning the competition for Tesla in the US is not really high. And look at this. The president says if China does not withdraw its 34% tariff increase by tomorrow, the US will impose an additional tariff of 50% on April 9th. And it seems like Elon is sending a message to the president because Elon posted this video on his main timeline getting tens of millions of views, and this video says this.
There's not a single person in the world who could make this pencil. Remarkable statement? Not at all. The wood from which it's made, for all I know, comes from a tree that was cut down in the state of Washington. To cut down that tree, it took a saw. To make the saw, it took steel. To make the steel, it took iron ore. This black center, we call it lead, but it's really graphite, compressed graphite. I'm not sure where it comes from, but I think it comes from some mines in South America. This red top up here, the eraser, bit of rubber, probably comes from Malaya, where the rubber tree isn't even native. It was imported from South America by some businessmen with the help of the British government.
And I personally believe that Tesla's stock is going to $1,000 per share, but there is one investment that I made which was actually better for me than my Tesla stock. And my younger brothers who are teenagers, they have been asking me how I'm doing numbers like this, and I will explain it to them how I would make money again, how to increase income. I will basically share everything I know about money with them during a 2-day event, and there is a link down below to sign up for that event if you'd like to attend as well. One thing that I want to teach them is that there's no investment that I made that was actually better than investing in myself. One lesson that I really want them to understand is that let's say they make $5,000 a month and they want to get to $50,000 a month eventually in their career. Not knowing how to make $50,000 a month is literally costing them $45,000 a month, assuming that they make $5,000 a month. And while investing in yourself can be costly, not investing in yourself, if you want to make more money, I think is a lot more costly. So those of you who are coming to the event, click on the link down below, or if you're interested, click on the link down below and I will see you on that page. If not, then I will see you in the next video, probably on Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. And by the way, when someone clicks the like button, it actually does make a difference. I can measure it and I notice it. It definitely does make a difference. So I want to thank to all of you who every single video, you click on the like button. I really appreciate that. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much for that.